This AP Calc example is giving us some values of x, f of x, and then f prime of x, and then wants us to use that information to find the value of the derivative of the inverse at a specific x value at x equals 7. The notation on that is always funky, but the derivative of an inverse is what I refer to as a special case derivative. It's just like your trig functions, your natural logs. It's a derivative that you just want to have memorized going into the test. So if your original function is your inverse function, then the derivative of the inverse, which looks like this weird f to the negative 1 prime, the negative 1 is always the inverse. The definition for this says that the inverse is equal to 1 over the derivative of the original function with that value plugged into the inverse inside it. So for us, what we're looking for is we're looking for this value here. We're looking for the derivative of the inverse evaluated at 7. So using this special case, what we know is this would be 1 over the derivative with the inverse having 7 plugged into it. So you look up at your table right now and you say to yourself, well, I don't have a value for inverses in the table. I've got a value for f primes and I've got a value for f of x, but I don't know what the inverse is based upon that table at first. What you want to remind yourself of is how this relationship between the original function and the inverse works. So if the original function f of x has the point x comma y on it, then your inverse function, your f to the negative 1 of x, has the flipped point. So you flip that point and it has the point yx. And so the weirdness here that you got, once you see it, it's not that bad, is the x value that you're plugging in is actually a y value. So what we're being asked to do on this is we're plugging in, that's a y value of 7. Well, f of x values are the same as y values. So what it's telling me now is when I plug in 7 for y, my x value is going to be my answer. I'm going to get out 5. And so then I replace that in the problem and I'm looking at 1 over f prime, and then this is 5. Now I do have a column for f prime of 5. So that is now an x value inside here. So when x equals 5, my derivative is going to equal negative 9. And so now I can plug in for that derivative value 1 over negative 9, and that's going to be my final answer, option C. So the derivative of an inverse is a special case rule. You just have to have it memorized. If you've got it memorized, these problems are usually pretty easy. And then always keep in mind the fact that when you've got an original function with a point xy on it, the flipped point yx is on the inverse. And that's usually the trick to unlocking this problem. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that like button and subscribe. And also share it with your friends and anyone else you know who might be crying about an upcoming AP Calc test. You can find more videos from me, more sample AP Calc questions, and my complete AP Calc study guide over at my website, apcalcprep.com. Have a great one.